I went from having a roughly 9.2 to 9.4 centimeter main tumor in my esophagus. I had multiple secondaries from my reports, etc. We believe there was a 4.2 centimeter, I think it was, secondary on my aorta, and then a 3.6 centimeter one on the neck of my pancreas. Both really bad places to have secondaries, especially the aorta. And then I had somewhere between sort of 8 and 12 lymph nodes. I think it was 10 and 12 lymph nodes that were involved as well. That's where I was in the January when I started. My first scan after starting my protocol in about the March time, we found that most of my metastases had disappeared completely. All the lymph nodes were back to normal. The two secondaries had virtually disappeared completely. And my primary tumor had dropped by about 30%. Yeah. Roll on another few months, and we'd been away on holiday and whatever else during that summer. We tried to make the most of our lives, as you do when you've got this sort of pending doom hanging over you. We tried to make some memories with our kids. Came back in about the July time and did another scan, and everything had vanished. I was left with, and according to the report, it says some distal thickening of the esophageal wall. Unfortunately, having picked up a few viruses and all sorts of joys of having kids in nursery, I'm back to having one lymph node that is being stubborn again. That's ever so slightly inflamed, like a millimeter or two, enough that they think it is cancerous, but they can't really tell and they can't really test and all these sorts of things. But as it stands, I am very close to no evidence of disease, despite having been told that that would never be the case for me. And sadly, with esophageal cancer, it's one of the top deadliest as well. And I think the survival rate of, all stage diagnoses is only something like a 19% survival after 2 years and a sub 5% survival after 5 years for all patients across all stages. So you can imagine as a stage 4 patient, your prognosis and your survival chance is astronomically low. My oncologist even told me at one point that I had more chance of winning the lottery than I did surviving 2 years. And as you might be able to gather, my answer to which was, here, hold my off-label medications and watch this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, give me a challenge and I will rise to it.
Accept it.
What I love is that, people will either do one thing or other. Some of them are just like, okay, they just accept this diagnosis. And what you did is you focused on what you had control over, which was, I'm just going to do research. I'm just going to learn as much as I can about this. And then through that research, you started to uncover things. And so what do the doctors say now when you're...
Yeah. So I should probably point out during this that probably in about, late November, early December 2024, when I sat my oncologist, my former NHS oncologist, this is down and said, look, this is my plan. This is what I want to do. I was very open and honest with them. And their reaction was, well, probably as a lot of people would expect, but I didn't. I thought, well, I'm an intelligent person. I'm communicating evidence here. Of course, they're going to at least consider it. No.
You're advocating for yourself. You're not just going down a rabbit hole, right? It's just is evidence-based research. Yes.
And I'm not the person who goes, well, I saw it on Google. I actually went ahead and found the papers and cited the research and came up with a list of why, and I could explain the science and I knew enough to understand it all. Yeah. And I sat my oncologist down and said, look, this is what I want to do. Their automatic reaction was, you're stupid. This is dangerous. Don't you dare do this, otherwise we will pull your care completely. They made an outright threat to pull my care if I went down this route. To which, and I'm not going to swear on camera, but you can imagine my reaction. We ended up having one of the senior nurses in the room, and they ended up getting a nutritionist involved. And I mean, to point out, the nutritionist's advice was to eat lots of ice cream and chocolate to try and put on weight for chemotherapy. Every piece of science that I'd read at that point in time said the absolute opposite.